every police interaction video. But what happens when the person behind the wheel physically cannot obey? Welcome back to Justice Valley, where today we are heading to DeKalb, Texas, for a traffic stop that quickly descends into a masterclass in bureaucratic cruelty. Imagine two best friends driving down a busy highway. One is 100% blind. The other is a paraplegic with no use of his legs. When Officer Will Rhodes orders them out over a simple taglight violation, the reality of the situation hits like a freight train.
I do not have a __ wheelchair, you idiot. My legs do not work.
Is this about
officer safety?
Or is it a calculated power trip? Today, we're breaking down the moment a routine stop turned into a forced crawl on the asphalt, and the legal fishing expedition that started it all. To understand why this interaction feels so visceral, you have to meet the men inside the Cadillac. We're talking about Jacob Jackson, the driver, and Dallas Bruce, his passenger. These aren't just two guys on a Sunday drive. They are a viral duo known for showing the world that a wheelchair or a white cane doesn't mean life is over. They spend their time taking other disabled veterans and kids hunting and fishing, proving that grit is stronger than any physical limitation. But there's a darker layer to this story that the officers on the scene didn't seem to care about. Dallas Bruce is blind because he was shot in the face back in 2017. And the department that allegedly let him sit in a house for 3 hours without rendering medical aid? The DeKalb Police Department. When Dallas tells the officer,
"I've been done dirty by y'all before,"
he isn't just being difficult. He's speaking from a place of deep, documented trauma. This isn't just a traffic stop. For these men, it's a rerun of a nightmare. It all starts with a
tag light.
In the world of aggressive policing, that's the golden ticket, a minor equipment violation used as a legal gateway to peer inside your life. While one officer distracts the driver with paperwork, the second officer circles the Cadillac like a shark. He spots an adorable dog in the back and starts playing the friendly neighbor routine. He's petting the pup, talking about his own pit bulls at home, but don't be fooled, this is a classic
fishing expedition.
He isn't there for the dog, he's looking for a reason. And when the small talk doesn't yield a confession, he pulls out the oldest trick in the Texas playbook, the magic smell of marijuana. In the Fifth Circuit, the alleged odor of weed is basically a skeleton key for the Fourth Amendment. It allows officers to bypass warrants and order everyone out. It's a high-stakes bluff, and as we're about to see, the officers are willing to bet these men's dignity just to see what's inside the glove box. Now, let's talk about the law. Most people have heard of Pennsylvania versus Mims, the Supreme Court case that says an officer can order a driver out of a vehicle during a traffic stop for
officer safety.
It's a bright-line rule. But here in the real world, specifically in the Fifth Circuit, there's a massive asterisk when it comes to the disabled. Meet US v. Meredith, a 2007 case that addresses this exact absurdity. The court in Meredith didn't say you have to drag a paraplegic man onto the pavement like a sack of potatoes. It actually suggested a
minimally necessary visual inspection
while the occupant remains in their seat. Why? Because the alternative, ordering a man with no use of his legs to crawl through the dirt, is as legally intrusive as it is morally bankrupt. But Officer Will Rhodes clearly didn't get that memo. Instead of common sense or constitutional restraint, we're left watching a man with a broken back drag himself across Texas asphalt. As the search drags on, the situation moves from a legal debate to a medical crisis. Jacob Jackson begins to experience autonomic dysreflexia, a life-threatening condition for paraplegics where the body reacts violently to a distended bladder. He isn't just uncomfortable, he's in a physiological emergency. Jacob calmly explains he needs to use a catheter, a basic medical necessity. But how do the
servants of the law
respond? With a threat.
If you pull your __ out, I'm charging you with indecent exposure.
Officer Rhodes warns. Think about the sheer cruelty of that statement. A grown man, paralyzed and sitting in the dirt, is forced to choose between a medical emergency or a sex offender registry. Eventually, the body gives way, and Jacob is forced to urinate on himself while the officers stand by, indifferent. It's a chilling reminder that officer safety often serves as a shield for a total lack of human compassion. Gemini said after all the shouting, the forced crawl onto the pavement, and the medical humiliation of a paralyzed man, you'd think these officers had uncovered a cartel-level distribution hub. They tore the Cadillac apart, driven by the magic smell of marijuana that, spoiler alert, didn't exist. So, what was the grand prize for this constitutional shakedown? 0 drugs. Not a single gram. Instead, the big catch was a miniature bottle of Evan Williams whiskey with a splash of liquor left inside. Think about the absurdity here. Officer Kenny Foster decides to double down. issuing a citation for an
open container.
We're talking about a violation so minor it barely registers, yet it's used to justify the absolute degradation of 2 disabled citizens. Even George Washington had his own private still, and I'm willing to bet he didn't get dragged out of his carriage for it. It's a textbook example of
contempt of cop.
When they can't find the crime they wanted, they'll settle for whatever petty charge keeps the win on their side. As we close this chapter, the fallout in DeKalb is just as shocking as the stop itself. Reports indicate that this department has practically dissolved, leaving only a handful of officers behind after the chief and others hit the exit. Perhaps they realized that
protect and serve
shouldn't involve forcing a paralyzed man to crawl through the dirt. Jacob and Dallas are now moving forward with legal counsel, turning this roadside nightmare into a fight for accountability. But their mission doesn't end in a courtroom. These men are still out there, proving that a disability isn't a dead end, it's just a different path. They continue to mentor others, showing that freedom is something you have to defend, even when it's uncomfortable.
Our rights don't end where your fear begins.
If you believe that compassion should be part of the badge, hit that subscribe button and share this video. Help us shine a light on the dark corners of small-town policing. Until next time, stay vigilant. This is Justice Valley.